Hello Pisces, welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Pisces is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Pisces, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. We start with the Seven of Pentacles. You're somebody who is not giving up on something, right? This is a very disciplined kind of card, and it's an attentive card. It's saying that we're sticking with something even when it's not bearing fruit at the moment. Okay? Maybe it's something that was at one point bearing fruit, and now it's kind of, things have declined, but we're not giving up. We haven't quit, right? We may be experiencing the little f failures, right? That something didn't quite work out. We planted some seeds. We thought they would grow just like they did last time, but guess what? They didn't grow. And that's okay, right? Because you're somebody that understands that wins and losses are part of the game. As long as our line is going up and to the right, as long as we are increasing as we move forward in time, that's kind of the name of the game. We know that on any given day, we might have a loss, we might have a win. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. But overall, it's through your persistence and your consistency that you're really getting the benefit here, okay? So sometimes the Seven of Pentacles is somebody that's been thrown down on the mat. Well, you're getting back up again, right? And you'll keep getting up as often as it takes. So I feel like right now, the way we're kind of looking at our lives, this is our first card. It's called the Station. It's generally like how we see ourselves. And I think that you sometimes take the losses rather hard, rather personally, okay? But it's very important with this card that we don't identify with the failure or the loss or the incomplete or the mistake, the error. This card could be that, you know, we were trying to do something and it didn't work out. We kind of feel like that's our fault. Feel like maybe I did something wrong. Was it through some error that I made? And that's why this didn't bear the fruit that it needed, right? Sometimes that's just what happens. Sometimes you can do everything right, but something still won't work out. Kind of comes with the territory, you know? So I think you're really trying to intellectually understand that, but at the same time, we sometimes take it personally, and we're emotionally affected by that. Nobody likes to fail. Everybody says, you know, fail bigger, fail harder, fail forward, and all this kind of stuff, but failure's never fun. Okay? Not getting the win when we've worked so hard for it is never fun. Yeah. Let's put this card into a little bit of context. Look at that. A doorway, a divine doorway, the Eon card. Judgment, rebirth, reawakening, a baptism by fire. This is a rebirth card. This is a card of a decision to move forward and leave the past, really leave the failure behind us. Is this it for you, or are you getting up again? Okay. Down here we have a Queen of Cups. We have a Princess of Cups. We've got the Radiant Sun, and we've got that Devil card. This major arcana, this is where it's at. This stuff over here, not so much. Okay, the Princess and the Queen of Cups. We have the Art or Temperance card, getting back into the fire. We have the Moon card, your superpower card. That's a very good sign when we have the card that rules the sign, right? So this is the Moon card. It's associated with the sign of Pisces, as you probably know. Maybe you don't. But this is in your environment. So this is very interesting too, because it does show that, our future is uncertain, and that's part of the problem here. Here we have the Leo energy, the lust or strength card, and finally, yes, of course, the Aries energy. I almost started ringing the bell for the Aries card, the Knight of Wands. Because Pisces, you are evolving into the Aries energy. It is a natural progression for you to get more of that energy in from the sign of Aries. Okay, kind of blending both of them together. So the Aries cards have been showing up in your readings for, I'd say, the last couple of months here at least. Probably longer than that. Let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set it right over here with big red ant right on top. We're not going to look at that card until the very end, but it will tie everything together, will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If at any moment during this message you feel like you might know what that card could be, put your prediction in the comments down beneath the video, okay? Now, as we look around the room, a lot of majors today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 major arcana cards. Wow. We're in miracle mode now, right? But we have to make the decision to get up again. If you can get up off the mat and go through this doorway and say, I'm putting the past behind me and I'm going to keep going, I think you're invoking miracle mode. Okay? I think the next 2 weeks are going to be very, very critical for you. We have all these majors. You got fire, you got water, and you got your earth cards. I think it's difficult for you to deal with your emotions about this situation. Okay. Interestingly, I just realized we got the Queen of Cups. This is another Pisces power card, right? Because this is a mutable water. I didn't even realize. You got double power cards in this position, which is kind of a challenge, I'll be honest with you. Because it does show that we're taking something very, very personally. I think that you have this fiery energy in you, and you gave something all of your effort, and I think you were defeated. It's like you're in a jiu-jitsu match, and you were pumped. You were expecting a really kind of prosperous outcome, but instead we got this. And so what the Queen of Cups is doing is processing the emotions of this loss. The queens are always processing an ending, right? So this is kind of like the match ended and it didn't work out. You planted your crops, they didn't grow. So it's an ending of some sort, right? A temporary ending, or at least that's the idea. It should be temporary. This is a loss, but it's not the loss, it's not the end of the road. Okay? But the Queen of Cups is processing this like it is the end of everything. Okay? And the Queen of Cups is processing the ending in a very slow way. It's like we're slowly peeling the Band-Aid off. And it hurts. And it's kind of like saying, I'm not ready to go forward until this doesn't hurt anymore. You know? It's like we got thrown down on the mat, and not only are we physically sore, but emotionally like it hurt our feelings. I feel embarrassed. I feel like a failure. I feel just bad, like I want to cry, right? And so I'm going to lay here down on the mat until I don't feel bad anymore. Then I'll get up and I'll re-engage. But the only way to get over these feelings is to get up and re-engage. Okay? Because I think that this is a very sensitive energy in you. And it's down beneath the surface. This is kind of like, this is inside of you, who you are, right? I think you're very, as confident as you are, I think you're also very sensitive. So we're kind of, again, blending the Pisces and the Aries energy together. I think Pisces is a very, very psychically sensitive, but also a very emotionally sensitive person. I think it takes you a long time to get, when something really affects you personally, it takes you a little bit of time to get through that. Okay, so in this case, when we're feeling the effects of a Seven of Pentacles, it's going to take us a while to get over that feeling. Because we take it personally. It really hits us deep. It cuts us to the quick, okay? And so we might be in this process for a while, right? Spirit wants us now to realize that we can't linger here. The best thing to do is to try to get back up and get back on the horse as quickly as we can. So position 2 is your battlefield position. This is the task before you. This is your quest. Going through the doorway, making the decision to get back in the fire, to get back in the fight, to get back on the horse, to re-engage, to get up off the mat, to do this thing again, whatever it is that you attempted that didn't work. This is the battle, right? This is the challenge. And of course, if all this energy works out this way, right? The way the energy is flowing now, everything's pointed toward this Aries energy, which is you re-engaging. This is you leaping back into the fire, you see. So if we heed the lessons of all of these cards, this is what's going to happen. You're going to get back into it. Okay, you're going to get right back in the saddle here. We have to make that decision. But part of the problem there is, of course, this overwhelming water energy inside of you, the Queen of Cups. The Queens are always looking at the past. Something has ended. The Queens are processing the ending. Okay, and this is somebody who processes the ending very slowly, feeling every little pain, and is not ready to go forward, this is the Knight of Wands is leaping forward. The Queens are, separating from the past. So it's a slow process for you to put the past behind you because you're very, very sensitive to it. It affected you very deeply. Okay. And of course, the past is that Princess of Cups. I think that we had gotten our hopes up. I think we were very excited. We said, this is a sure thing. I've got this. This is going to be great. Oops. Nope. It didn't work out that way. This could be a relationship. It could be a sporting event. It could be it could be a job, a career. It could be anything. Okay. But the idea here is that we sort of let our feelings sort of drive the boat. We let ourselves get a little bit too excited, or we were expecting a different outcome. Okay? And this is sometimes the way it goes, right? There's nothing you did wrong. I think that's part of the lesson here is that we don't really need to blame anything or anybody. Of course, you don't have any air energy here. I think that's a very good thing. Because the air energy might be that my feelings are hurt and I'm looking for somebody to blame. The alternative there, though, is that we're blaming ourselves. We don't need to do that either. So the idea here is to put this past behind you as quickly as possible. Go through this doorway. The Eon card is a divine doorway. It's always indicating a decision that needs to be made. A definite decision, closing the door on the past and moving forward. The failure is a failure, whether we got our hopes up too much, I was a little bit too sure of myself, I thought it was a guaranteed win, my bad, okay? We're making the decision to go forward. Here is your Divine Doorway card, Sunset. Time here turns to release and unfurl. Old cords of pain fade as the sun's light burns. Okay, releasing and unfurling the old cords of pain. This hurt, but we don't need to sit and linger in that pain. The emotional pain, right? My feelings are hurt. I'm sensitive. I'm upset that this was a loss, that this didn't work out. This was a failure, and I'm upset by it. We need to release that by taking that step through that doorway. Because again, the Queen wants to pull the Band-Aid off very, very slowly and feels every sting, every pinch, right? And is not ready to leap forward until it doesn't hurt anymore. We need to release that pain and let that confidence burn. Let that solar radiance shine. Okay. So the Princess of Cups might even be an energy that says, like, I jumped into something. I wasn't all that prepared. I wanted it really, really bad, and then I didn't do everything that I could have done, right? But we don't need to really blame ourselves for that, because that's going to drag us deeper into this emotion, and it's going to be more difficult for us to climb out of it. But I'm looking at this and thinking, yeah, maybe we we didn't really know what we were getting into. Maybe we let our heart sort of, we let our heart write a check that we couldn't quite cash at the time. But this is a learning experience. So yeah, there's that Seven of Pentacles. We were thrown down on the mat. We just need to get back up again and move forward with this devil energy, okay? But the Sun card up here, this radiant energy, I feel like you're very aware of your capabilities here. As much as we kind of sink into the sadness or the sensitivity of it, I think you really have a talent and a skill for whatever you're doing now. This is really this is a path that's meant for you. This is a clarity. This is a radiance. This is somebody that kind of knows why they're here and who they are and why they're here, right? And so I think that you are someone you recognize when we're lingering in an emotion. Okay? You can see that. It doesn't make it any easier, really. It doesn't help us to really to get out of that any faster, but to know that about ourselves. You know, I'm a sensitive person. Things happen, I get my feelings hurt. Things happen, I get upset. I don't handle it very well, and it takes me a minute to recover. I see that about myself, and that's okay. I'm not trying to look for blame, just looking for clarity. Okay, and it's okay. I got to feel how I feel, and then I got to get fired up again. And that's the way it has to work with you, right? But we have to do that step of getting fired up again. We can't just, I feel bad, and then I'm just going to go home and I'm going to quit. I'm not going to try again. It's okay to be upset, but we need to recognize that, okay, that emotion is going to pass. That pain, that humiliation, that loss, that upset, that defeat, that's going to pass. It'll pass quicker if I get up, if I allow that emotional energy to sort of sublimate and transform into power, right? If we use it as fuel. Yeah. So this might be the light of the sun, that solar recognition, that spiritual energy that's saying, I don't have to just linger in the emotions and lose my momentum. What I can do is feel this pain and this humiliation and kind of like, allow it to motivate me. Use it for fuel for the gas tank. See, here we have that devil card. That's the engine of the car. Yeah. And maybe we can use this emotional energy as fuel for that engine. Okay, so the way forward for you is to kind of get fired up, to get motivated again. And I think that this is ambition. This is a driving force. And for us to tap into this drive is gonna, the sooner we get back to doing the work or trying again or getting back on the horse, getting back in the saddle or whatever it is, the sooner we're gonna make progress. It's kind of inertia. The longer we linger here, the more difficult it's going to be to kind of get things moving again. Okay? And I think that this devil and this really has to want it. Yeah. And this is both that aggressive drive and the pleasure drive and the creative drive. Okay, so whatever we have to sort of latch onto at this time to kind of help drag us out of this emotional deep end, this kind of bottomless pit of emotion. I think we need to do that. That means we got to get mad. This means we have to want it more than anybody else. This means that we have to kind of put our ego aside and think, I'm doing this for a bigger purpose. There's a bigger picture here. There's something larger at stake than just my ego. Whatever it is we have to do to get back at it. Okay? Because this is the way forward for you. This is a lot of progress that you're going to be making, but you have to make the decision to get up off the floor, basically. Okay? Now, on the path of the serpent, we start out with the Temperance card. Now, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. Readings are totally free, supports the channel, and I really do appreciate that. The Ardor Temperance card is the pressure cooker. This is the blacksmith's anvil. And this, I think, is your internal pressure. Okay? And this is also the way other people see you, or the objective view of yourself. This is kind of like, this is the subjective thing. I failed. But this is how the rest of us see you. And it's almost as if you're putting too much pressure on yourself. That you see this as a failure, but it's kind of like, it's not really, and again, no one's trying to tell you how to feel, right? If you feel that this is the biggest loss of your life, okay. That's how you feel. No one's trying to take that away from you. But the way the rest of the way the rest of us are looking at you is like you're holding yourself to a very high standard, and it's kind of like this wasn't that bad, you know. You're putting way too much pressure on yourself, and it kind of is almost a little offensive to say that, right? Because you're thinking, no, this is the worst thing that's ever happened. This is the biggest loss of my life. How could I do this? And I'm sinking into the despair. You don't understand, right? But the way it seems objectively is this isn't as bad as you think. Okay? That you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself that doesn't quite need to be there. Or if it is there, let's use it as fuel rather than letting it sort of crush us. Okay? This is also the card that kind of says, let's jump back into the fire. Yeah. As devastating as this failure was, or this loss, or this defeat, or this upset, let's get back into the fire. And let's do it again. Let's show them, let's prove everybody wrong. Whatever we have to do to get motivated, But as the pressure cooker card in your general energy, it seems to me like you're putting a lot more pressure on yourself than other people maybe seem or perceive as being necessary. Does that make sense? I think you're a lot harder on yourself than other people would be. Okay. And I think that comes with the territory for you. But it might be important to look at it objectively and think, okay, am I being too hard on myself? Like, this was a loss, this sucked, but can I be kinder to me? Am I holding myself to an unattainable standard? Do I have too high expectations for myself? Well, expectations are good, right? But can I be a little bit kinder to me? Do I have to be so hard on me right now? And if I do, if I can't change how I feel, let's at least use that as a motivating energy. Yeah, I got to be hard on myself. Fine. That means I'm going to make myself work harder. I'm not going to sink into a bowl of ice cream and on the couch and just say, forget it, I quit. I'm going to use that emotional energy as gasoline for that engine. Okay. Now, in the environment, interesting. You got your moon card in the environment. This is the way you see the world. And I think it's difficult for you to see anything except for that. This is darkness. It looks like we have fallen down, and all we see is the world from that position. Okay? So we're sort of looking at the world as like a dark, scary forest. And it's kind of like, it's almost like fear. It's like, I don't, there's part of me that doesn't want to get up and try again. And I don't know if I can do it. Okay? I think that there is a hint in this card because of that little solar disk. It's a reference to our sun card up here. And it's saying, look, we are the light and we need to rise. This is our time. And if we make that decision to get up, no matter how many times it takes, we're going to keep getting up. And we're going to do this. And we're facing that fear with full clarity, full illumination, full awareness, right? This is also your superpower card. So I think in a way, you sort of do well when there's some kind of fear as a motivator, or some kind of uncertainty, or some kind of something scary, right? That's kind of motivating you to get up and fight harder, push harder, and try again. Yeah. And so we're able to use some of this energy, again, as fuel for this engine. And that's the motivation that we need right now. Even with the uncertainty, even with the future being unpredictable. Okay? It's kind of like if the future is so unpredictable, it means I got to try harder to control everything that I can. because we're all in the dark, scary forest. And if we just sort of give up and just say, well, whatever's going to be will be, I quit, then that darkness is going to surround, it's going to close in on us and crush us. So when we're surrounded by all this darkness and all this dark, scary forest energy, it's kind of like I need to do my very, very best to stay in the driver's seat. It's kind of like when it's nighttime, when you're driving at night, you got to pay more attention. You know, you've got to use whatever lights you have. You got to use your eyes a little bit differently. You've got to use your headlights when you're driving through, a dark night. Okay. When you're driving during the day, it doesn't really matter. You can see everything that's around you. You don't have to turn your headlights on. Your eyes are working differently. But when it's nighttime, you've got to be more vigilant. Okay. So I think there is a lot of, there's a lot of fear. I think sometimes we're sort of scared of getting back up off the mat again because we feel like, well, what if I get thrown down again? What if I get my feelings hurt again? And yeah, and that might happen. But we know for sure that we're not going to receive any of the benefits. We're not going to receive the rewards if we don't get up and do it again. Yeah. Now, the position of the difficulty or the obstacle is, of course, that confidence and that courage. This is what we need. We need the courage and the confidence. And I think maybe you're worried that it's not going to be there. But I feel like you're activating that. You know this is the difficult thing, but this is what you got to do. You can't have courage if you don't have fear. Okay? It's the fear has to come first because it gives us and then courage can be the response to the fear. If it's the other way around, everybody has confidence. Yeah, until something scary happens, and then guess what? Turn into a little kitty cat and run away. You've got the fear first, which means, okay, now when you have confidence and courage, it's real, that you're being brave. You can't be brave unless there's something to be brave against, right? And that's where you've got these two cards here. We got the courage and the fear. And these cards, I feel like they have to go together, because I think if this wasn't a challenging thing, if there was no fear, if there was nothing to be afraid of, you wouldn't really be doing anything, It wouldn't really be a worthwhile activity for you. So I feel like in a way that the fear really does motivate you because it stimulates your courage. It gives you something to be brave against. And this, of course, is that card of like channeling our forces, right? This is the engine fully powered up. It's the difficult thing, but this is what we really need to confront. This is what we need right here, this whole thing, all the major arcana, right? We make the decision, and we move forward. We get that endurance, we get the engine fired back up. We get up off the mat and we try again. I think we confront the fears. We get back into the pressure cooker. We get back in the fire. We treat ourselves kindly. I think at least the suggestion is that we need to. But maybe you're the kind of person that has to be pretty firm with yourself in order to stay motivated. Maybe being too kind to yourself is like saying, it's okay to quit. It's okay to go lie down. It's okay to stop. Which it is, of course. You don't have to keep going. You could easily give up on this and go do something else. But I think right now you're trying to be very strict with yourself. It's like you're looking yourself in the mirror and saying, don't give up. Don't give up. You can do it. I feel like you're the kind of person that needs to be self-motivating. Other people telling you to do it isn't going to help. That just makes us feel worse. When other people tell us we need to get up and keep fighting, we're like, no, I'm going to go home. We need to do that for ourselves and look in the mirror and say, I got to get up. I've got to keep going. Yeah. And of course, we've got our Knight of Wands, that Aries energy there at the end. I feel like this is you jumping back into it. I feel like all of this is taking place in a moment for you. Because this is like, I'm leaping back in, I'm jumping back up off the mat with no hesitation. The horse and the rider are one unit. There's no delay. So I feel like really what's happening is all these cards are happening in an instant. What really is going on is we fell down, we got up. We fell down, we got up. All of this stuff happens in a flash, right? This is kind of like it's all happening in a microsecond. You know, all of it is happening in a microsecond. And as soon as we hit the mat, we're leaping right back onto our feet. At least that's the idea. And if we understand all of this energy, then if and when we do fall, we'll leap right back into action with no delay. I think the next couple of weeks are going to be very important for you. Yeah. And you may be feeling right now that nobody's supporting you. This is about you supporting yourself. This is about you motivating yourself when nobody else is there to motivate you. This is about you believing in yourself when nobody else is believing in you. So the next couple of weeks, okay, we're activating this miracle mode. And if we're finding that we are suffering a defeat or a loss or a failure, we are jumping right back into action. And I guarantee you will succeed. Let's look at our mystery card. Position 11 is the guide. It represents the voice of the silence within you, the voice of spirit, what spirit's trying to tell you, the character qualities that we might need to develop in order to move forward. What is this going to be for you? It might be the carrot in front of you, what you're after, what you want more than anything else in the world. So it might be an Ace of Cups. It could be some discipline. It could be some motivation. Yeah. It could be another Knight of Wands. It could be another Strength card. What do you think it's going to be? Put your prediction in the comments. Let's see. Queen of Swords. Learning from the ending. See, Queen and Queen. Queen of Cups, feeling the pain of the ending. Feeling the emotions of the ending. Okay, sure. If we can sublimate that into motivation, fine. But the Queen of Swords is processing an ending not from the emotional point of view, but from the mental point of view. Okay, what did I learn from that? Not, woe is me, this hurts, this sucks, I want to go home, but like, okay, I got thrown down on the mat. What does that mean? How can I prevent that from happening? What did I learn from that experience? How can I take that and use that as some kind of a knowledge or wisdom or understanding that then next time I can avoid that same mistake? See, if we're not learning from the mistake, we're going to just keep repeating them. This is you now learning from the mistake. Aha, I know what I did wrong. I know what I did wrong. Now guess what? I ain't going to make that mistake again. So you've learned something here. Okay? And I think we're learning something in the emotional world as well. Okay? We're learning something kind of mentally, intellectually, that, how not to make that same mistake again. But I think we're also learning about our own heart. We're learning about, like, I am capable of getting up off the mat again. We're kind of learning about our own power. We're learning about our own courage. We're learning about our fears, right? We're processing these emotions, and it's teaching us a lot about who we are. See, the Sun card, again, we know who we are, why we're here. The Sun is trying to illuminate this situation for you so that you can understand what emotional energy is at work inside of you. And now, of course, what mental energy is at work inside of your heart and your mind, right? The Sun is trying to illuminate your heart and mind so that you can continue on this path and kick some butt and win and get to your goals and succeed and whatever this is for you. So this is definitely a learning experience. I think you're learning just as much about yourself emotionally as you are intellectually. And now we're going to do an extended reading as well. If you want to stick around, we'll do an I Ching hexagram. We'll do some oracle cards. There's a link in the corner. There's a link down below. New readings for Pisces on Tuesdays and Fridays. Be sure to watch both readings. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we are all in this together.